It's meal time on Millie again, and this time it's in Colorado, just a little west of Grand Junction. Mark couldn't quite make it to Grand Junction without his clock running out. So tonight we're having a salad because you know the lettuce and stuff won't last that long in the produce stand or produce basket. Today we're going to try a different view. See how this goes. They always say practice makes perfect, but I think just practice makes better. It can never be perfect. I was really excited finding this at the store. Little packets of already peeled garlic, but not already shredded garlic. It'll simplify things a little more on the truck. You can always go for simpler. Good news is I found everything I needed at the grocery store for this recipe. Nothing's going to be substituted today. So this load we're taking, we got a real unusual request to pick it up from a Flying J in Phoenix. That's not normal. We don't know the real story of what happened behind it, but it must have been a family emergency, a medical emergency, or a major breakdown of some sort for the original driver to have just left it at the truck stop. So it's running a few days late, but don't worry, people in Denver, your Sam's Club will be restocked. We're on our way. Millie spent the last 3 days in the shop getting maintenance. So good news, she's ready to rock and roll. Bad news, they didn't have any transmission fluid in. So they told us they would take us out of shop hold so we could keep running and just stop at random terminals around the country and ask them if they have transmission fluid and get it taken care of as soon as possible. So we're not only going to be on trailer hunting trips, we're going to be on transmission fluid hunting trips. Besides the lettuce not staying good through the week, these avocados are also a pressing reason for making the salad tonight. They didn't have any other than these little baby ones that were ripe, and the other ones were so rock hard I didn't know if I'd even be able to use them by the end of the week. Fortunately, I found the mangoes. Those were hard to find. They had only a small bin of them, but I found a ripe one, so everything will come together. The other thing was our tires. We've had 4 sets of brand new steer tires put on in the last year because they keep cupping really bad, and when that happens the steering wheel starts shaking. So we asked them this time if they maybe could look at the suspension and see if it needs to be realigned, and it doesn't look like they did that. We just got new tires again. I'm guessing they figure doing the alignment will only last 24 hours at that, because we just have to hit some major potholes, and I'm sure it throws it all out of whack again. So we technically had a fabulous 4 days of home time. Although it didn't count as home time, it was maintenance. Our truck was in the shop and we were forced to shut down, so it doesn't count against us on our home time days that we save up. It was a nice treat to get to pop in and see how the kids are doing, see how fast the baby's growing. Okay, so I lied. We are substituting one thing. The recipe calls for the red wine vinegar, but I only have room for one kind of vinegar on my truck with my itty bitty pantry. So one little substitution, but I'm sure it will turn out just great. I did remember to grab some more olive oil. I was running low on that. So we usually have to go in to have a maintenance done every 25,000 miles. So the miles that we run, that means maintenance is required about every 5 to 6 weeks, depending on how many miles we get in. And since we've made the new resolution that we are only going to do maintenance in Phoenix, we'll be getting to squeeze in some extra home time. Can't pass that up, not when the babies are growing so fast. I decided to put my garden back in the truck again. We had this for about 8 months a while ago, and it was really nice to have the fresh herbs growing. Took a little remembering to keep them watered, and we had to be careful about the heat if we locked Millie up during a 34 so that they didn't all wilt away, but They make the truck smell good. And, you know, they make the food taste good as well. So this time around, we're going to try to keep some mint and some basil alive. Wish us luck. You know, it's the small things to make a house a home or a truck a livable situation. Well, honest, we really do enjoy living on the truck and seeing the country, and one of the most fun things about it is realizing how little you need and what a minimalist life feels like. We don't ever plan to go back to having a whole house full of things and stuff to take care of and monitor and move around and sort and organize and do junk and all those glorious things of a big home. Just a small little RV will keep everything in check when we retire, and we'll be able to visit our grandkids no matter where they are in this country. The debate still continues, fifth wheel or RV, and what size. We're leaning currently towards an RV and a smaller one. But, you know, anything can happen in the next 5 years. The last 3 years have been testimony to that. You know the saying, man plans and God laughs. Okay, now to get down here into this fridge. Got some chicken in here. Everything else is falling out at the same time. Right. If I was on top of it, I would have marinated the chicken this morning before I went to bed, but I wasn't on top of it. I was sleep deprived. On the day that I get back into my schedule, I have to force myself to stay awake all night. So I was up all day Sunday enjoying the family and the kids and busy. And once everybody went to bed, I ran to the grocery store, finished the laundry, got the truck all set up, and then took a shower. And by then it was about 1:30 in the morning, and I still needed to keep myself awake for another 2 hours to get Mark up and get on the road. I managed to do it. I don't know how, but I did it. And then once he was up and we were picking up our load, I stayed up for another hour and a half. So thinking about marinating the chicken was the last thing on my mind, just hitting the pillow. That's all I was wanting to do by that point. Those 24 hours, they're not real easy for these older folks. But I did get a good night's sleep, regardless of all of the bumps Mark hit on the road. And if you've been on the road between Flagstaff up to Page, you know what I'm talking about. That road is nasty. You catch some air when you're trying to sleep on that road. Okay, so to avoid extra dishes, we make good use of all of our baggies that we get from the produce department. So marinate the chicken up in that real good. Try to keep my hands from getting real disgusting, although I do have paper towels on my truck again. So when I've talked to family and friends back in Phoenix, they've all told me the shelves are fine. Everything in Phoenix is fully stocked, while I complain about all the missing items around the country as I do my grocery shopping each week. But I went shopping. I went shopping 5 times in 4 days. That's one of Cameron's favorite activities, so it's a mother and son bonding activity. But I did lots of checking out, and they are really sneaky in Phoenix. They have rearranged and altered a lot of things to make everything look super full still. I noticed at the Sam's Club that we frequent, the section where it used to have lots and lots of baked goods and lots of breads and bagels and flatbreads and etc., it was 3 full areas completely full of alcohol. Very tricky. I also noticed multiple displays of the same thing in a couple different spots in order to fill the holes in. I also noticed the chocolate. The chocolate section was very small. And the peanut butter, there was only creamy peanut butter, no chunky peanut butter to be found anywhere. But don't worry, I found everything I needed to get the pantry restocked for the kids. It's one of the hard things about being here on the road with all this craziness in the world right now, being so far away. If anything happens crazy, knowing my kids are so far away and it might be difficult, if not impossible, to get back to them, I like to know that they are set for most emergencies. Refilled their fuel, so generator will work if the power has an issue, and refilled their water if there's any issue with water supply, and with the drought going on, who knows what that's going to be like. And then I made sure their pantries are stocked so they could eat for a few weeks if they didn't want to go to the grocery store. The kids think I'm silly and roll their eyes at me, but you know, a mom's got to do what she's got to do to make herself be able to sleep at night and be at peace, knowing all is well with her children. I try not to be fearful. I know fear is just a crippling emotion, and a truck driver cannot be fearful. Let me tell you, the stuff that happens out here, you wouldn't drive if you had any fear running through your veins. But I do believe in being cautious and being prepared, and I do have a concern of being stuck somewhere for who knows what reason. But I have prepared myself as well. I've got a little bug out kit on my truck, all kinds of survival tools tucked under the bed, so worst case scenario I can start hoofing it back across country from wherever we end up. That's worst case scenario, and I'm prepared for it, so I'm not fearful of it. And of course, I could just think of it as the umbrella analogy. You know, as long as you carry the umbrella, it's not gonna rain. I've also made sure to find lots of survival documentaries and podcasts to listen to, so I can get my skills up. And you know, one of the best things to watch is that show called Alone. You can learn so much from those guys. You can learn a little bit from Naked and Afraid, but not as much as you can get out of the Alone. And then YouTube, it's full of all kinds of survival, bushcraft skills and tools and techniques. The one area that I need to start doing more studying in is edible plants, wild flowers and weeds and such. Okay, so dinner's almost ready. Hope Mark's hungry. I know I am. Get this nibbled down, and then I'm hitting the road. At the end of this video, I have a little treat for you. The wild Rockies of Colorado on time lapse. I couldn't have asked for a better time of day to film the Rockies as we drive over the pass. It's just as the sun's going down, that's when the colors become amazing and the shadows make the rocky cliffs look even more impressive. I know that the time-lapse video won't be anything like seeing it in person, so if you ever get the chance to do that, I recommend it. So I only have about 300 miles to drive, and then my shift will be done for the night, which is only a fraction of my shift. But we did get our next load, and it's going to be picking up in Denver tomorrow night. So we will be sitting in Denver for about 20 hours. Joy, fun. I'll still need to get some sleep, and Mark will just be waking up, so maybe he'll find something to keep himself busy with all day. So once we pick up the load tomorrow night, we're going to be doing a loop. I suspect that we're filling in for somebody that's got a dedicated route and is either taking home time or decided to change their job or routing or whatever, but we'll be picking up here, headed all the way up to up to near, I should say, Seattle. And then as soon as we drop there, we turn around, pick up another load at the exact same spot and bring it straight back here to the same spot we picked up at. So it's an expedited load, and I did the math on the miles, and the miles calculated by the speed that we will be driving, we will not have a second to breathe. No extra shutdowns period, or we'll be late. So we'll be in a bit of a hurry. We'll making dinner for the next couple days pretty wild. And I'll just keep myself busy right now getting everything cleaned up. Mark's gonna be ready to jump into bed as soon as we're done eating. I think I'm gonna need to use this again this week, so I'm gonna have to clean it up real good. I won't be able to. Oh, maybe Mark could do the dishes while we're sitting in Phoenix or in Denver for a little bit. We'll see. We don't have much by way of dishes just yet. So I'll tuck my handy dandy cutting board back up in its little hiding cubby. It's pretty tricky on a little teeny truck made for one person, for two people, to get everything to fit. I built a few extra shelving units and attached them, and there is no extra space anywhere. We keep it all full with something. But I am guilty of using probably 80% of it for my kitchen. It wasn't quite so bad before COVID. We cooked on the truck since we started, but not nearly as much as we do now. Before COVID, we were able to find restaurants that we could sit down and have a good meal and get some, veggies off of the buffet or a salad bar. Yeah, those are pretty hard to find these days. And, a person can't live on fast food alone. I know there are some people out there that will argue with that, but I'm just saying. I don't want to do it. I mean, last week, after our 34, we decided not to buy any groceries because we knew we'd be going into maintenance real soon and didn't want to have to worry about packing a bunch of food off of the truck so it didn't get ruined while the truck was sitting in Phoenix heat for a few days. So for about 4 days we were just living on whatever we could find at the truck stops, and yeah, I don't want to make that a habit. It's not fun. You feel yourself getting sluggish pretty fast. Okay, get this rinsed out so it doesn't get difficult to clean up a little later. I love our handy dandy little water spigot. We were glad when we found that. There were times when we would try to pour a gallon water into our cups while we're driving down the road, and needless to say, we spilled more than we were drinking. Alright, looks like it turned out really good. Time to dig in. Just clean things up a little bit and get the plates all ready. Get my pre-trip done real quick. That's just about a 15-minute inspection of the truck and the trailer, make sure everything's ready to go roadworthy. Don't want to have any problems if we get pulled into a wait station along the way. And then another day done. So thanks for joining us on another adventure cross country. I hope someday you have a chance to come to Colorado and see it for yourself. It's really beautiful, really majestic. I mean, the mountains are, it's easy to get distracted when you're trying to stay focused on the road. All of the curves and the hills and, the other stuff that I'm supposed to be paying attention to. Alright, you can take that out. And we're ready to go. Yum. looks like everybody passes us all day.